Oh, how I have missed that top cut music. It gets me going every single time. It's like a march of the duelists that are going in to compete for the title of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Champion of Bologna.
It is. It really is. By the way, of course, mission title defense still out on the field because Joshua Schmidt's still involved here in this top 32. But for now, we're going to focus on Davide versus Sasha and what they're going to do here with their respective Tenpai and Fiendsmith Chimera decks.
And Sasha already does not look happy about this situation, seeing the Fright Fur patchwork, knowing, hey, there could be some illusion monsters that are going to cause trouble in the battle phase. The battle phase.
And there is a really good normal summon. The Mirror Sword Knight, basically the normal summon you want. And Sasha, does he have a response to that? Ash Blossom or Dominus Impulse would be multiple ways to stop that, but there is none of them. And there is now the Gazelle on the field.
Oh, okay.
Does it get answered in any way? Oh, so importantly enough to notice is we can't really use Effect Veil or Infinite Impermanence on the Mirror Sword Knight as it's a quick effect, but now the Gazelle is not a quick effect anymore, but just an effect on the summon, so that Impermanence was rightfully held for the Gazelle, and now that's not going to resolve.
And there is no Chimera Fusion being changed with it, because this is a dangerous game that you're playing, throwing Effect Veiler or Infinite Impermanence onto the Gazelle. However, there is a little tell that the Fusion isn't in hand when the Gazelle is summoned, but now we know that there is of course also Polymerization and the Edge Imp.
Oh, so, and there's not only Polymerization, but there's also Dark Fusion. The OG Leo. You must love that, right? It's because that era is your era, basically.
Avian and Burstinatrix on the broadcast.
Holding hands together, and we're using not only the Gazelle, but also the Edge Imp Chain from our hand. But I mean, it works as a regular Polymerization kind of, right?
We could have just used the regular Polymerization and not told our opponent that we have the Dark Fusion in hand.
All right, and we do go for a Fusion Summon of the Baphomet, the mythical king of Phantom Beasts, which will allow us to send one Illusion or Beast monster, whichever we prefer, from the deck to the graveyard. And also we're resolving the Edge Imp Chain, searching us another Fight for a Patchwork, of course.
I'm gonna say this illusion theme has aged incredibly well, because when it came out first, it was like a roguish deck. Nobody really cared too much for it. It was very cool to see how the resource gaming goes on and how niche the interactions of the deck are. It was very difficult to play against it because there were always like 6 or 7 effects, niche little effects that you had to take care of. And now the deck has just been really, really a constant threat in multiple metas.
Yeah, for sure. And look at that. We did, in fact, send the Evil Hero Sinister Necrom to the graveyard, which was immediately banished to bring out the good old Adusted Gold. Evil Hero Adusted Gold on the field. What year is it once again? And there's only one reason why you do that, because that Evil Hero Adusted Gold, guess what? It's a Light Fiend monster, immediately being linked off of Fiendsmith Requiem.
Then we have Lacrima. I feel like I've seen this before somewhere.
This card is making an impact, right? Maybe people didn't anticipate this card to be like one of the most impactful ones from the most recent sets, but it's putting up a show here this weekend, the Lacrima.
I mean, it gives Engraver in the graveyard, which is very, very, strong.
And it's just like, initially people thought it was just going to be another Light Fiend body so that you have an easier time using your sequence. But now it's just like a big important combo piece, and it enables the Fiendsmith decks to go for the Fiendsmith trap as well. You basically see it everywhere. Having another Light Fiend body in the graveyard is incredibly impactful.
Yeah. And actually with the Dark Fusion sequence, we did not only get the chance to send the Sinister Necrom to the graveyard, but also because we used the Gazelle as fusion material, we got to search out the Nightmare Apprentice, which then special summoned itself out as another monster and giving us another ability and chance to search. So we just keep on going here. That Impermanence looked good initially, but that Chimera deck is just one of those decks that can keep on pushing with so many more and different scenarios and chances in the hand here. And we search another Mirror Sword Knight now, basically just for follow-up.
But we get a draw.
But we get a draw for the Necrocrypt Princess, indeed. And
I'm curious to see what David will end on his field, because he probably knows it is against Tenpai. So I wonder if he has anything spicy, like Snake Eyes has Fucho, for example, if it is something relevant against the matchup.
I think Davide has something that is very, very relevant. One of the most prestigious illusion monsters that are around, that is also, for example, played in my favorite Memento deck, is the Diabels, the original Sin Keeper, and he's running that in the main deck. So that is quite the tech you can have in the Tenpai matchup, because them not being able to activate cards like Lightning Storm and so on will be a huge impact if he gets there.
Would you take that Nibiru challenge if you were against Tenpai? I mean, probably they are running Impulse, so you can extend a lot without fearing Nibiru.
100%. If you ask me, I think against Tenpai, I'm always playing into Nibiru at the moment.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, there's also still always the chance that they just play field-breaking cards and no hand traps at all. And then you're better off with a protected field that is big. Also, I think, looking at the 2 level 6 monsters, a Wave King Caesar would also be good if you get another engraver onto the field, which is always a possibility.
For sure. So Larry coming back now. And one card that I actually like the decision of running that from Sasha. And Leo, I know you're a big fan of the card as well, since day one basically. But he's running the Fantastica Dragon Phantazmay. But so far 0 Link summons. But oh wait, there was Requiem, right?
There's a sequence.
There is a sequence now, yeah. But I think hold on, there he is. Look at that. So
there we go.
We have the Phantazmay being activated here, but quite naturally this card against a fusion-orientated deck is not going to be massively important. I think Sasha right now is just happy that he gets any chance to activate it, basically, and not misses out on it completely.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest, the card is absolutely huge against every single deck that you can resolve it. It is an immediate +1, it can fix your hand. You draw 2 cards, and you can choose which one to put back, and it protects something of yours from targeting effects. Phantazmay Resolve is a huge step towards winning a game when you're going second.
And it's also a dragon, which is very important.
Yep. It is also a dragon. That is also absolutely true.
Indeed it is. But then it's interesting to see, because he did summon Fiendsmith sequence, right? Yeah. I'm not making this up. So it's interesting to see that he waited for... No, sorry, Requiem. He summoned the Fiendsmith Requiem before that as well. So it's interesting. Yeah, look, it's in the graveyard. So it's interesting to see that Sasha decided to wait for one more step for the sequence, maybe hoping that there would be a second Link monster on the field somehow.
If Requiem is being chained, then there is no Link monster on the field anymore.
Okay. But then you're still making a +1, right?
Yeah, but he probably wanted to see 2 cards from his deck.
Fair, yeah, I can see that. That's a very reasonable approach. Leo double-checking for the first time ever, realizing, yeah, Phantazmay can just draw 1 card and not shuffle back any. That's a possible scenario.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah. I thought you, as Phantazmay believer #1, would have known that, my friend.
Wait, I'm utterly confused right now.
Yeah, just when Phantazmay is resolving, it's checking the Link monsters on the field, basically. So if there's none left anymore, you still get to draw a card, but you just don't have to shuffle any back.
You can activate Phantazmay, chain Nibiru.
That works,
True,
yeah. That absolutely works.
But I mean, it's way cooler to draw 2 cards, right?
Yeah. I mean, drawing more cards is always better. One of the most basic principles of Yu-Gi-Oh, right? Drawing more is better. Pot of Greed is better than Upstart Goblin, so we will go with the 2 drawn cards here.
And I mean, Sasha is at top 32 of YCS. I'm sure that he knows what he's doing.
Yes, clearly he does. So, what do we have next here? We have brought out the Desiree. Sequence still on the field, probably going to be equipped to it eventually. We do also now still have 2 level 6 Fiend monsters on the field, so Caesar should be an easy thing to go into.
Can I have a salad, please? Yes, of course I'll take the Caesars.
And there is your service. To your service, Leo. Davide brings out the Caesar just for you. The only issue of Caesar is how many attack points does it have?
2,800.
Oh, I mean, then it's not an issue at all. Yeah, it's bigger than the Phantazmay easily.
And now I activate Polymerization, and the question is, okay, we're just going for a regular fusion with 2 monsters here. I want to see some Guardian Chimeras. Oh.
Magnum now as well. Double checking whether attack or defense position. It's going to be the attack position. Such a crazy and long turn here from Davide, right? Like, it seems like it's never stopping. The entire turn is just, he keeps on going and going and going. And Sasha just did 1 Impermanence and then the 1 Phantazmay. But don't be fooled. If there is one deck in the entire format that can just make very little very much out of very little. It is Tenpai. Just activate the field spell, normal summon one of your fire dragon monsters, and all that field might be for nothing and gone in a minute.
To be fair, the field spell protects in the main phase, and that is so good about the Caesar that you can just, whenever you want, negate the summon of a monster. So Caesar, I think, is one of the best interruptions for the Tenpai.
Yeah, I agree. But maybe then we just go for a Black Rose Dragon protected under the field spell or something. We can see some things happening here. But we, of course, need to get to that point. Overall, I think... what is your take? I think... Oh, there's a Druid Swarm now as well. Apparently we picked that up, but there, of course, is also the Caesar now immediately to answer it.
So many dragons, and of course you want to destroy it in hand, because then it won't trigger, because the graveyard effect is only activated when it leaves the field.
Indeed, and as far as I'm concerned, I did not see Diabels, right?
No.
Diabels has not found its way into the graveyard. Maybe there is a way to get it into the graveyard on the opponent's turn, but we will have to see.
But I mean, at least you have illusion monsters on the field, so that's already a good thing. And you have the Gazelle-ish fusions in play, so even if there is going to be a protected Black Rose Dragon to destroy the entire field, you have the option to just summon something from the graveyard back that can't be destroyed by battle. So it is going to give Tenpai a run for its money, no matter what happens.
Chimera fusion added off of the Gazelle, this time
And
allowed to resolve.
phase?
I think that must be the draw phase immediately, yeah, you're right.
I wonder... Oh yeah, of course, you want the Mirror Sword Knight in the graveyard, right?
I do believe so. Anything else? All 5 monster zones occupied on Davide's side. Main phase it is.
This is the scary part.
We love that! Quite easy and simple. Winning the European Championship not too long ago. Activating Raigeki. Trying to destroy the entire 5 monsters, and there's the Forbidden Jumping on top of it! So we wanted to negate it with the Desiree, but none of that Sasha is having. So all these monsters that Davide here worked for over 10 minutes are going to be gone in a heartbeat.
I love how Tenpai is just watching the entire time, just chilling basically, and then going, okay, so you have done 20 different steps. How about a Raigeki?
Yeah,
it's very important.
Droplet.
Droplet that sends Raigeki, since if he leaves the field, your Desiree cannot negate it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. The Desiree probably got negated with it
Oh,
anyways.
no, but summon Hydra! It is resolving! Are we really about to witness a crazy journey by Sasha in a heartbeat, just turning this thing around?
I wouldn't underestimate the set card though.
Yeah.
That's true. What could it be?
I think there is still the Before Mate in the graveyard, right? So let's see if we can in the game through that. I mean, there's Quibalt, so there is different options that you're having to play through this.
Chandra now. Anything from Davide? He's checking his graveyard. And we're going to Synchro Summon, I'm pretty sure. Still in the main phase, as far as I'm aware. We go for Biden Dragon, try to bring back Vip Hydra. Also,
Was that still in the main phase? I think
fine.
Sunken Kaiman was activated in the... I mean, yeah, you could just special summon the Chandra, fair enough.
I don't think... Did we activate the Sunken Kaiman for...
Wasn't it in the graveyard?
I don't think so.
No, we just added it and then we had the Chandra as well, I'm pretty sure.
Am I hallucinating?
You might be, wouldn't be surprised, but you might also be right.
Someone pinch me.
We're going to find out in a second, because as soon as Sasha activates that last card in hand and there is a Sunken Kaiman, Davide might be in trouble. All of that, by the way, happening without the Sunken Summoning, interestingly enough, because usually that field spell is going to be up there. Usually that's the reason why Tenpai is allowed to do it all that easily. But here, it's not even needed this far. Oh. What's that though?
Oh, the Super
that's
Volley.
quite the answer! We're striking back and forth here. Super Polymerization, discarding another copy. So we're just eliminating fields left and right here. And now it's looking better for Davide again, because only 1 card left in hand for Sasha.
We are fusion summoning so hard right now. The Garura in defense position now. Sunken Kaiman is being activated.
Of course,
I
last
assume.
card in hand.
Yeah.
Sunken Kaiman might still be enough here, honestly.
I think Chundra hasn't been activated. It was, oh, Fadra, of course. Fadra can now go for a rebound from the graveyard. So we're definitely going to be able to go for 3 attacks at least, so the Biden Dragon can summon itself back as well. So we're still in this. Tenpai can do very much with very little. Going to activate the effect, getting back the Chandra. Chandra is going to attack into the Garura as well. We don't take any damage anymore. Or do we actually still take the Pydra isn't there, right?
Damage.
Yep, but that is probably not really that important.
Is it double damage from Garura?
It is probably double damage from Garura, yeah. It's a fact that the double damage is always going to be applied. Interesting decision, by the way, from Davide to wait for the Bident to be used for super polymerization, because he could have just fused away the Pydra and the Chandra, and then the Bident wouldn't be in the graveyard, because right now there's actually a resourceful card to have in the graveyard. There we see it, third attack being declared, so Bident can now be used in the graveyard, and that's just an additional monster to attack with.
I think he just waited in case that Sasha would enter battle phase, and he just passed priority, and then Sasha entered battle phase.
Fair, yeah, that's a good point. But then he realized, ooh, he might just be going into the Transcendent Dragon, and then my super polymerization is not going to do a whole lot anymore. So we are just going to attack now. Biden Dragon.
2,600 attack points is going to be enough to destroy the Garura during the battle, and I don't think that any of the fusion synchro effects have been used so far. Sasha has everything going for him right now, and I think that the only thing that Davide has is the Baphomet in the graveyard.
Yeah, and I mean, he needs to use it carefully, right? Because every synchro summon from here on now could just be the Transcendent Dragon, and when that Transcendent Dragon then on the field, they cannot use the graveyard effect to do it anymore. So we may have to plan ahead, just anticipate whether he wants to summon out the Transcendent Dragon. Oh, look, there's Pydra activating. This could mean Transcendent, I'm just saying. So if you want to do something better, do it now. Right? Yeah, I think so.
So, okay, Davide actually does respond. What could happen now is that you just immediately try to go into some removal.
Let's see. I mean, the thing is, we can still just chain our other Tenpai monsters to synchro summon. So even if this one doesn't successfully resolve, we can just, okay, but we are...
I mean, the synchro summon is always going to resolve, but you don't get the Transcendent onto the field before an illusion monster is being summoned.
There's just the Necrom now, coming back to the field. Evil heroes. What a time to be alive. Here in top 32 of the YCS in Bologna.
It's actually a Fiend monster. That's not even an illusion that can't be destroyed by battle.
Yeah, I don't think this one is going to hinder us too much.
Baphomet can summon back illusions, right?
Baphomet can only summon back banished monsters, though. I think that is the issue here at that point. So it was the only legitimate card that we could bring out. So we did, at the right time, go for that. Oh, but look at that. We go for Ruddy Rose Dragon. That has been a while since I've seen this card being used by a Tenpai player. But that effect here, and you see how many cards Davide currently is holding in his hand, and that's his graveyard. And that graveyard is going to be gone in a moment.
But does that mean that we won't win the game this turn?
Possibly, yeah. Maybe we're just trying to eliminate all the resources that Davide has. And look at that, we're banishing all of them. Ruddy Rose without a problem resolving here.
Now Ruddy Rose is going to attack over Necrom or the Garura, and your graveyard is gone as well, my friend.
Okay. Necrom gone.
Do we even get rid of the Garura?
He actually switched the banished zone with the graveyard, because the hero was banished.
True. That's cool, yeah.
Very much so, you're right. Oh, okay, we just go into the main phase 2. We leave the Garura out there, so we can just bring it back to the extra deck potentially with the effect of Seals. And yes, sometimes Tenpai does not do it all in one turn, but it still turns out to be enough most of the time. So is this Seals going to be the card he needs here to win after that impactful and impressive Ruddy Rose Dragon?
So Ruddy Rose Dragon has another secret effect, the second one, and that means... Actually, Bassi, do you know it?
I don't actually. What is it?
If your opponent activates a card that would destroy cards, like a Dark Hole, you can negate it and tribute it to you can tribute it to negate the activation.
Okay, that's fairly good.
I think it's special summons also, right?
Is that so? Your opponent activates a card effect that will destroy a card. Oh yeah, then you can special summon a Black Rose Dragon.
Which he does play, in fact, funnily enough.
No,
Black
it doesn't trigger.
Yeah, triggers only on Synchro Summon, but it's a body.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Davide now confronted with a new situation, but still with the Mirror Sword Side, which I think we searched last turn for follow-up already. And that's a good start, because I mean, we could activate the seals here, and that would lead to the monster summoned out. Yeah, they either chain it or they don't, and when they chain it, you can just get the monster they summon out to the hand. Don't know whether that's too good, though.
No, you resolve. Oh, no, yeah, true. No, you resolve first.
Yeah,
So,
but then the monster gets to the
now?
field, but it
Yeah,
can't
true.
activate
Yeah.
on the field, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
seal is a very good option.
So you would get the cornfield then, but then they bounce Garura. Oh, it's a good choice, yeah.
Okay, we do give the Mirror Sword Slide back to the hand, so usually this card is very good at playing around those kind of effects by it being a quick effect, but Seals not targeting here is the important part and is the reason why this resolved in this way.
So now I assume that we're going to summon either a Pydra to search for the Sangan summoning or another follow-up Sangan Kaiman, or we're actually maybe going to go for a Bestial Magnamut to later on.
Or a Fadra.
Oh,
look, we go for the Magnamut
Magnamut.
to be more flexible, to search what we need in the end phase and not determine that we need to search for a Sangan spell trap card.
Absolutely. So Davide, does he have anything else to offer besides that Norman summon that he has now already committed into? 2 more cards in hand next to Mirror Swords Knight. And is there something he can do? He's considering his extra deck. Is he running Typhon by any chance? Let me double check that.
I mean, you can attack with the Garura into the Ruddy Rose and fish for a draw.
Yeah, at the very least you could do that. There's no Typhon, by the way, in his extra deck, so... Oh, but is there... Oh, there's still the fusion, right? Oh, wow! We have the Nightmare Apprentice. That's a huge card. Just getting the Mirror Sword Slide into the graveyard anyways by discarding it, special summoning itself out, and now having the ability to use its incredible on-summon effect to give us even more cards. For example, this Cornfield Codal that he just fetched out there.
How much does it do, though? I mean, you can go for a rank 6 play here.
Yeah, Beatrice would be a good option if it would still be allowed, but that is of course not the case anymore.
You can also go for the Fiendsmith engine here.
Yeah, always. That door is always open there.
We are playing Moon, right?
We are, in fact... I mean, you're playing so many Light Fiends in this deck, or you have a special way to get to it, so there is no
also
Moon in there.
Maybe the main deck monsters of the Fiendsmith deck are already banished.
Yeah, so maybe that route indeed is not open anymore.
Ruddy Rose really did some work here.
Yeah, for sure. All the resources gone. I mean, not to be disregarded right now, the fact that Ruddy Rose also just has 3,200 attack points. Like, if you want to attack over it, you gotta summon out a monster with some stats. And I don't see that happening too quickly
And
here.
you can't just pop it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it has the secret effect. I wonder if Davide has read it carefully.
Surely. In top 32 in a featured match like that, you are going to read every single card, but there also is a Chimera fusion now. Using the Garura. Oh, look. It's coming.
Oh, no, wait. Oh, he can chain block it. He can chain block a Guardian Chimera that he wants to summon with the Garura on Chain Link 2, and that is so big. Drawing a card, destroying 2 cards, drawing another card. Also having the Gazelle in the graveyard that is going to trigger after it has been used for a fusion summon.
And it's very important that you first draw and then destroy, so you can decide which cards you can destroy.
Yeah.
This is massive. This Guardian Chimera is going to turn this around. And yeah, we completely disregarded the fact that he would just easily be able to use it as Chain Link 1, Chain Link 2, and therefore the Ruddy Rose Dragon would have been a nice interaction if there was no effects activating in the graveyard. But there's not only Garura, but also the Gazelle now triggering. So, drawing 2 cards, destroying both monsters.
Ruddy Rose, you were almost so good in this situation, but unfortunately, chain blocking is a real thing.
Okay, direct attack of Guardian Chimera. And I understand that Sasha doesn't say, hey, I can just go next game, because there's always 1-card scenarios for Tenpai. Just a singular Sangan Kaiman, just a singular Chandra, and actually the effect and end phase of Magnamut, so we're still very much alive, because Genroku is already there.
Yep,
Probably to summon Fadra in order to summon Sunra from the graveyard.
Do we even play two of those? Yeah. That is so good because we still haven't used the Sangan summoning in last turn. So if we want to summon another Pydra next turn, we can activate the effect because this is still all in end phase. Genroku was added to the hand by Magnamut, thus it was able to trigger and summon itself, and then a quick effect, a Lone Fire Blossom, as we like to call it, out a Pydra.
That's true. And now another card picked up for turn. It's incredible to see how Tenpai still goes strong and fights here in this game, right? Because a lot of people have that misconception about the Tenpai Dragon strategy, that it's a deck that can only win on the second turn and there's no other way to win with this deck. But Sasha right now is proving us all that that's absolutely not the case. You can actually just grind with your opponent. It can create very unique and interesting game states, and we are in one of those right now.
Chandra is being summoned out, and we put it directly onto the field. I wonder if we are in battle phase or if we just added it to hand and called it a special summon here because we're controlling the Hydra.
Yeah, we're in battle phase.
Yeah.
We are in battle phase
Hydra
indeed.
was just announced. That means there is a battle phase. We're going to go for a level 7 synchro here, and I'm curious to see what we're going into. If we're going into just another Biden Dragon because the previous one is already banished. What do we have in the graveyard?
We don't have Hydra.
Oh, we have the Fadra in the graveyard.
He probably plays only one, that's why he never summoned from the deck.
I was just curious if Ruddy Rose might have banished it before. So now you can summon back the Hydra and actually get the Sangan summoning from your deck to your hand as well.
Not only to your hand, you can set the Sangan summoning, which is crucially important for potential Trident Dragon lines. And I think Trident Dragon, one of the strongest dragons in the entire game, might be the one that it comes down to here in this one as well.
Yeah, I did not see that coming, that this one becomes one of the strongest dragons in the game.
I mean, it was previously, it just returned to the main stage, right?
Trident Dragon to the main stage, please.
Okay, we do bring back Hydra. This turn we have not activated the effect of Hydra yet. We have activated the effect to Synchro Summon, but not to Search yet. So Sangan summoning. All of that so far without that also powerful field spell, but now it is on the field. Even though set, it still would be able to activate its graveyard effect. The graveyard effect of Sangan summoning, if you don't know what that is doing, when it gets destroyed in the battle phase, you can just double, yes, I repeat, double the attack points of one of your Synchro Dragons.
Can actually be activated if it is in the banishment also.
Oh yeah, true, that's absolutely true. It works under Shifter. And there we go. Trident Dragon has joined the conversation. We're using its effect, destroying the Fadra and the Sangan summoning, so the attack points are doubled. Book of the Eclipse Vault! Who said that Trident Dragon? The plan was clear. The game was ahead of it, but the game goes to Davide instead. That Book of the Eclipse was the last saving grace for Davide, and therefore Chimera now all of a sudden up a game. That Book of the Eclipse was crazy. He had game on the field.
Sasha played it incredibly well, and then when he decided to go all in, like he outgrinded the Chimera deck basically, and then decided, okay, this is my game shot, this is where I have to try and win the game. He set Book of Eclipse. He was, Davide was so incredibly patient with this. He sat there and was like, okay, yeah, I could do this at any moment, but I just won't.
I love the fact when players just wait for the right moment to activate their interruptions. It was an amazing play, and I really love the fact that we saw on the field 2 old cards being so relevant, right?
True, Book of Eclipse versus the Trident Dragon was a bit of an old school clash there.
Yeah.
And just the book won against the gigantic three-headed dragon.
Sometimes that easy for sure. And I mean, it was incredible how long he waited with that, because technically that Trident Dragon could have also been a Transcendent Dragon, and then a Book of Eclipse would have just not been able to use. And with lightning speed, because he responded so quickly, he was like, yeah, you can keep on going, keep on going, keep on going. And he always was aware he needs to go to Trident Dragon. Like, if he goes for Transcendent Dragon, this is not going to work out this turn anymore.
It's not going to be able to just attack over the Guardian Chimera because it has so many attack points. So you're forcing your opponent to go into the Trident Dragon and destroy your Sangan summoning, which would be your other resource for a later on grind game. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, and I mean, how often do we get a 25-minute game 1 out of Tenpai, right? That was quite the game. I enjoyed this, seriously. I've been dabbling a little bit into the Tenpai deck as well, played it myself, and I had great fun with it, honestly, because it does sometimes, of course, give you those matches where you just can already meet your friends outside after 10 minutes because you just had those 2 5-minute games, and it's beautiful because you get a lot of time to refresh then. But also you have those matches where you really have to fight for every single game, and I love that.
And Sasha needed to make so many decisions throughout the whole match, the whole game, and I'm sure the whole match.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you said that there is going to be games where you're finished after 10 minutes. That's also a really good advantage in the tournament because those days are long. If you go far in tournament or in day one even, you're going to be very exhausted at some point. So if you have some games where you just win easily because your opponent, you ash them and they break, as we have seen earlier in the top 64 match, you just normal summon Pydra, they scoop, and that happens again in the next game, and you're like, hey,
sure. I'm pretty sure that most of the Tenpais, when they enter battle phase, their opponent just scoop.
Yeah, that does happen a lot of time. On Master Duel, at least, that does happen so many times. So it saves you some brain cells.
I would never do that.
Does it work that way?
I don't know.
You would never
Not
scoop?
necessarily. Nah.
Is that why you always end up on time?
Yeah, no, make them play it out. Show me the combo. Show me that you studied it. Show me that you know the basics.
Yeah.
Because we have seen people crumble before on feature bench, right? The pressure is on, so sometimes people just make the easiest of mistakes. So rather put them on the spot and let them execute.
Yeah, that's true. And talking about putting them on the spot, I think we're ready for game 2, so let's go over to the table.
Game number 2. Davide up a game on Sasha. And now the interesting part, is Sasha going to decide to go first or second? Because the matchup is not that great, and I feel like Sasha is actually announcing phases, and we're normal summoning the Chimera Drago that we brought in from our side deck. Another set card being added. This is tough, honestly.
2008 is calling it once its normal summons back.
Yeah, revealing a Chandra in the end phase, which is what Chimera Drago has to do. Always you gotta reveal a dragon in the end phase. So Sasha immediately shows as well, there is something I can do next turn. So you better do something about this now, otherwise Chandra is there to work next turn.
I love the fact that we showcase a Time Wizard format right now.
Yeah, look at this classic opening. This is Chimera Drago set 2. And honestly, look at how beautiful this card is.
Oh, but I mean, we saw that Davide is playing answers to this, right? Book of Eclipse immediately would deal with this. First of all, though, Frightful Patchwork is being activated.
Okay, what attributes do we have in our extra deck? Or do we want to call it Fusion deck at this point? No, there is also Link Monsters, of course.
Okay,
what do
so
we
we're
have
searching for a Dark Monster here. But let me see. I mean, Aerial Eater, funnily enough, is a wind monster if we do have the chance.
Isn't it only like
to
1/8 attack?
It is 2100,
Oh, 2100, that's
yeah,
enough.
which would be enough technically to attack over it. And then the Baphomet, probably even easier to summon, another wind monster. So maybe the Chimera Drago not even as impactful, because the list goes on. Chimera, the king of Phantom Beasts, they're all wind monsters.
Oh, wow.
I think most of the fusions are winged to be...
Yeah, for sure. And what is coming here? So are we activating a fusion spell, possibly? When Sasha sees that there is a fusion spell activated, he probably is already scared, because he was trying to rule that out completely. Or we could just normal summon out, of course, the Mirror Swords Knight, using its effect. Mirror Swords Knight, by the way, would have already been big enough to double with the Chimera Drago, but there is Dominus Impulse coming down from... Oh no! Oh, Sasha tried to use it from the hand.
There is no monster on the field, and you can only activate Dominus Impulse from the hand if there is a monster on the field.
A card to be specific, but yeah, still, that is not the case anymore.
That is big.
Oh my, Sasha.
What a cool mechanic for Chimera to play around this card.
Indeed it is.
And we should also note that Chimera will not be negated, since Impulse prevents the player from activating the effects.
Yeah,
and Chimera doesn't activate.
So, going into the deck, Davide now knowing that there is an Impulse as well. So, yeah, there's possible fusion summons. We were just talking about there's multiple wind extra deck monsters, wind fusion monsters. All those fusion spells might just be met with the Impulse value immediately. So,
honestly, that might even help Sasha. Like, do you not want to just Impulse a fusion effect? So that your opponent isn't going to get like one of those big monsters out that run over the Chimera Drago.
I agree. That might be actually favorable for them.
But I mean, now we have 2 fusion spells already.
Yeah.
So, and he knew that, of course. He knew that there was a polymerization if he let the Mirror Sword Knight go through. I don't know why I always want to call it Sword Shield Knight. The Mirror Sword Knight go through. Chimera Fusion is going to be added to the hand as well. So it's a tough spot here for Sasha already.
There is the Chimera Fusion. Sasha, is that the moment you want to use the Impulse? I mean, you have already revealed it, so you may as well now decide to use it. And
Yep.
in fact, we do that, activating Dominus Impulse on the Chimera Fusion, negating it.
Okay, cool, says Davide, and now he looks at the polymerization in his head and the 5 other cards that are there, because this deck always pluses. And now we have another set card. The Rivalry of Warlords is coming in here.
my.
And now Davide has to check.
Is there even a way to resolve this? This is interesting.
It's a
Gazelle
beast.
is a... Oh yeah, true, it's about the types. Gazelle is a beast. So, that's going to be tough, actually. We have Berthmut being
Look at this
a
card, what
fiend.
we're having. We have Guardian Chimera as a beast.
Yeah, true, but that's a
you can't
dark
summon
which you can't
because
summon.
there's
But I think
Drago, yeah.
Chimera. If we have Chimera, the King of Phantom Beasts, that in fact would be a beast. But now we do need a beast monster plus a fiend monster to summon that out. Do we have a fiend monster in our hand?
Yeah, the Edgem
We
Saber.
do have the Edgem Chain in our hand.
Chain.
Yeah. So yeah. Oh, I think there's Engraver as well. Oh no, it's the Edgem Chain. And Sasha has to realize now, he probably wasn't sure himself, that there is a way to still perform a fusion summon to get out a monster bigger than the Chimera Drago, and that is going to be the Chimera, the King of Phantom Beasts, which now even in the end phase would be able to discard a hand from Sasha's discard a card from Sasha's hand,
And
but
there's only one left.
infinite impermanence there. Okay.
Yeah, but still, you're going to be able to get rid of the Drago. And then, now that you have the Chimera, the King of Phantom Beasts on the field, which counts as the Baphomet, or the Gazelle, or the fusion of those, you know what I mean. You can add back the Chimera fusion from hand.
That would be great, but don't forget infinite impermanence is just negating it, so that's not the case anymore. It's not treated as those anymore. So adding back the fusion would not be possible at that point. Frightful Patchwork now being added to the hand.
Is this something you can negate?
I'm pretty sure it is, yeah. So next up on the list, we're going to search not only the Patchwork, but also the Cornfield Codal.
Cornfield Codal would have been very nice to have in the graveyard already, so you can you can banish it to prevent the targeting effect of the infinite impermanence. I mean, you can get rid of the Drago, that is nice. We know that there is a dragon in hand for Sasha because he revealed it because of the Chimera Drago.
It is Chundra, actually.
Yeah,
Chundra?
it is.
All right. Oh, there's super polymerization in hand for Davide as well, I think. Oh, is it regular polymerization? I don't know. Codal is going to be activated. And now Davide is carefully piloting around those floodgating effect, those Chimera Drago and the Rivalry of Warlords. He is being limited a lot here, but for a fact, he can't attack over the Chimera Drago, and that's going to be fine for him.
Yeah, that is the most important and most crucial thing here at the moment. I mean, actually, like, you don't really necessarily want to draw the Drago normally, right? The plan usually is you side that in, you're playing Hieratic Seals in your extra deck, so you can just summon it out on your opponent's turn. But just drawing it, of course, it works as well, kinda. Upside is that it will be equipped with its original 1,900 attack points and not 0/0 for Seals. But that's going to be... Oh, that's a very clear indicator there, if you ask me. Setting, I mean, it might also be a bluff, of course, but that column there, occupied by Rivalry, and now also a set card on Davide's side, might, of course, indicate an impermanence also on Davide's side here.
So the Chandra is being normal summoned. Do you have anything for it? You are not longer locked into anything except for Darkened Light, or the other way around rather. So you could go for a Guardian Chimera. You have plenty of cards in hand. Go to the battle phase now.
We are
but
attacking.
it is also a beast.
Yeah.
So you can summon
yeah, meaning that there is still restrictions.
Yeah, but you can summon the Guardian Chimera and get rid of the Chandra and the Rivalry after that. So that is a possibility, but we're letting this attack go through. And if you have a super polymerization, then you need the Rivalry to go, because otherwise you can't get rid of the Hydra and the Chandra.
That's true, and I think if it would have been an imperm, chances would have been big that we would have just activated it on the Chandra, to be fair. So that's possibly not the case. Chandra now just gets destroyed in that battle, actually. We let it crash into the Chimera, which is uncommon, honestly, but there is now the Sangan Kaiman next. Anything from Davide? He does have the Ash Blossom and Joy Spring to counter that.
And now the Hydra is just really sad.
Oh my, we pass it right back over. Davide's turn it is. And if it is still an impermanence, but he didn't feel the need to activate, then now the impermanence would be crazy, because on our own turn we would be able to negate the Rivalry of the Warlords through it.
regardless, he is 200 life points up. He gets back the Chimera fusion immediately. 7 minutes left on the clock. It is looking splendid for Davide here. He can go for whatever fusion he likes to. As I said earlier, you can at this point go, oh, we're going to get even another Chimera fusion. You can go for a Guardian Chimera here if you like.
Indeed you can. We are going to normal the Gazelle.
And to be honest, I saw David smiling when he drew for turn, so I believe that he has game actually.
Yeah, that's a bold statement. Davide trying to win this game this turn, maybe doesn't even want to rely on the timer. We didn't have too many timeout situations in this tournament, right?
That's true. We're having a pretty quick format at the moment. Pretty pretty simple, as you could say, but we're going to summon out the Guardian Chimera here. There it is, of course, being another beast attribute, as we have been saying, so we can summon out of the rivalry, and there it is, Davide 2-0s, and there was the silver polarization set even, so Chimera out of all decks now all the way into top 16 here of YCS Bologna.
So let me ask you this, is the deck named after Chimera, King of the Phantom Beasts, or Guardian Chimera? Because this card can be basically looped in this deck. It is going to be summoned so many times on the opponent's turn with the Chimera fusion as well.
Yeah, for sure. So, are you seeing this deck? Do you see this deck as one of the ones maybe able to take this all down? Was that one of the decks that you had on your list of decks that could pull through for this event? What are you thinking, Mike? Is that one of the ones you expect?
I didn't expect the deck. However, David played wonderful.
Yeah.
And in the last play, because maybe someone didn't see that, he had Sasha had Ass on his hand, and Chimera was chain blocked, so he couldn't ask to stop the distraction.
Yeah, yeah. It's those minor things sometimes that are important. Yeah, for sure.
I truly believe that David played wonderful, and he can go all the way. He played amazingly, and he obviously knows his deck.
Yeah, absolutely does.
The thing is why I have my doubts on the deck winning the tournament is that I know that Dinkabui absolutely adores Chimera.
That's true,
and
that's true.
if Chimera would have had the ability to take this entire tournament down, I think Dinkabui would have played it. However, this was still a very, very strong showing. It dominated the Tenpai strategy, which was the most played deck in the tournament if you don't count the Fire King and the Azamina version of Snake Eyes together.
Yeah.
So the deck to beat definitely got beat here.
Yeah, that's true.
And I'm curious to see how he does advancing in the tournament, because now he's locked in for top 16.
He is. And speaking of top 16, and you have also been now mentioning a couple of other names, I know you guys at home are rooting for some of the big names in the field, some of the all-time high performers. And I can give you some updates out of the field. First of all, I know you are rooting specifically for that person. You are rooting for that deck, specifically Julius Schwarzkopf on to top 16.
Let's go!
So Mermail in there, then some sad news for all the Joshua Schmidt fans. We've lost him in top 32, so he's not around anymore for the team Fiendsmith Chimera. I don't actually know against what. Oh, you do know?
Yeah, against Dimitri Rafaelidis, one of the best Greek players.
Okay, okay. So Greek players are going strong.
He was playing Snake Eyes.
Okay, so Snake Eyes in there. Then more good news for all the Orcus lovers at home, because Orcus is also through to top 16 with Francesco Simoncelli, crazily enough. And then I know another very prominent name in the community, Pakawat Pamonsut, also on to top 16.
Big.
And also, I think we just got some news from the off, and I think those were negative news as well.
For you?
For me, for all the fans of Dinkabui, because Dinkabui also just lost in top 32, meaning he's out of the tournament as well.
For his opponent, it's great news.
Indeed it is.
Yeah, so there was a big group of people running the Kashtira Fiendsmith deck.
Yeah.
So it was basically like some of the best duelists of Germany and Pakawat as well playing this deck. And there's still also some people in there, like Jack Verma was also piloting that deck into the top cut. But for now, let's focus on the winner of the last match. So we're going to give it over to Alberto.
Thank you so much, guys, and I'm here with Davide, the winner of the top 32. So first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
And I think it was a very close match, and especially in game one, I think we saw crazy things that we will shortly talk about. But you were just telling me that you actually faced your opponent yesterday, right?
Yeah, I played against him the last turn of day one, and I won in Swiss. But you know, there's always the possibility to lose, even if you already won. So I was a bit afraid of him, but it went well.
Was it as difficult as the match you just played?
Yeah, absolutely.
I can imagine. And so let's just go for the first one I'd like to show you. So here basically you start things off, right? And what is the plan for you with that illusion?
My plan was to try to set up the diabells, but with my end and some end traps that my opponent used against me, I wasn't able to set up it, so I tried to put as many negates as possible, like the Caesar and the Desiree, but my opponent was able to destroy my field, and I was a bit worried at that point.
And no, especially because now I want to show you right immediately the second one, because basically, as you mentioned, there's the chance that your opponent can stop you, and this is your end field. So are you satisfied with it overall?
Yeah, but I was knowing that my opponent is playing Tenpai. I was afraid of board breakers like Raigeki and stuff. And so not having the diabells to try to control this this thing, I was a bit worried. And in fact, my board...
No, especially because we don't see very often the Phantazmay, right? So when we saw it, we were like, maybe he has the chance to draw even more cards to clear the field.
Yeah, Phantazmay doesn't worry me a lot, but he drew 2 cards. That was the main issue, but other ways, Phantazmay wouldn't be able to draw more cards.
Yeah, and I also feel like that, at this point, here for the third one I'd like to show you, as you mentioned, there may be the chance of, this happening, and it actually happened. So
yeah, in fact,
I think you were scared.
I was a bit safe with the Desiree, but my opponent had droplets, so in that moment was, okay, he did it, and I didn't have any response to that play, not playing the diabells, because if with this board there was diabells, this thing could not happen.
And especially because, I think there was a serious problem for you to maybe losing this very turn, right? Because when this happened against the Tenpai deck, okay, maybe he has it, but somehow after that there was the super polymerization bid activated from your side, which, let's say, kind of saved you. And as for the last one, for game 1, I think this is the game changer that nobody was expecting, right? Because he came back into the game and you with the Trident Dragon. I think for a moment he thought, maybe I have it.
I think he thought it. But I waited to use Book of Eclipse because I thought that my opponent was not able to make even the level 10 Tenpai monster to prevent me to activate effect in battle phase. So I wait for the Eclipse and used at the last minute possible.
And I think it was very well played by you, because it was a good catch, and this is exactly what happened. And running into game 2, what were your expectations? Do you already know, as happened yesterday, that he would have gone first?
Playing with my opponent, I expected him to go first. But he also knew that I would have went first, and he knew that I know that he wanted to go first. So it was a bit of a mind trick.
Yeah, exactly.
But I just said I think he would go first
and
anyway.
That's exactly what happens with the first one I'd like to show you guys, because this is the start. So with the Chimera Dragon, which of course, if you say it and you don't have enough options to deal with it, it's super annoying, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And also, I feel like that, as you mentioned, you were prepared to go second, no? So maybe you were expecting the Chimera Dragon to hit the field. And I feel...
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, please.
The Chimera is an issue, but not that much. It very depends on my end.
Exactly, yeah, it very depends on it, and especially because I think there was a certain point in game 1 which was, let's say, a kind of very small misplay for him with the impulse, which I think he didn't think about it, and that might have changed a little bit the game, the dynamic.
I knew the impulse, so I can play. I'm not very able to play around it because I cannot prevent it, but
exactly.
I can search for the Chimera fusion to give me 2 fusion spells, and he needed 2 impulse.
No,
and
exactly.
In that case,
yeah. And for the second one, I'd like to show you. There's the rivalry basically being activated on the polymerization, but I still think that you figured out the way, to navigate through this?
Yes, because my main goal here was to try to prevent the OTK next turn. I had Ash in my hand, so I was pretty confident, and I know that he has Chandra. So using the Chimera, the fusion one, I would have ripped him from his hand, but he had Imperm. But even with Chandra and another card, I don't think he was able to do it because I can negate the monster effect also.
Yeah, exactly.
So I was thinking that I was in the driver's seat.
Yeah, I mean, that was totally doable, as you mentioned. And for the third one as well, I think that was basically the turning point of the entire game, when there was the Ash being activated on the Cayman.
The Ash Blossom was the...
Yeah, because I think at this point he basically understood that there was nothing else to be done, especially because you took very well care of the rivalry question. This was an impermanence?
No. It was a patchwork.
Okay. No, we just mentioned it that maybe it would have been a bluff. I mean, why not?
Yeah, it was Super Poly and patchwork.
Okay.
But Super Poly wasn't alive since I have the Chimera.
Exactly, but I think anyways it was worth at least trying in this situation, just to let your opponent think maybe I had it, in these situations. And for the very first highlight I'd like to show you guys is just basically the Guardian Chimera that seals the game, so we will shortly zone it on the screen. And what I'd like to tell you is congratulations for the win.
Thank you.
Because I think now moving into the top 16, how do you feel like?
I'm really happy of this, and I want to thanks my friend and stay with them. Great. And just chill until...
And I really hope we get to see you again, hopefully later on in the top 4 or into the final. I really wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
And guys, don't go anywhere, because we're not done yet, because Ed is live. And Ed, back to you.
Thanks very much, Alberto. So, we're already through top 32's feature matches, which means next will be the top 16. And it's not long until we get into that final here at YCS Bologna. We see who is going to be crowned our champion for this year's Bologna tournament. But we've got plenty more coverage coming your way in the meantime, in between those rounds. I'm sure we'll even be having some quizzes at some point. But we've got pre-recorded duels, and we've even got some YCS highlights.